Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Good evening, Edmonton Oilers fans. My name is Ty Di Lello from Game Over Winnipeg. I'm filling in for my colleague Graham, who wasn't feeling good tonight, to do a little Oilers post-game show. And I will admit, I'm not not an Edmonton Oilers fan at all. But we're gonna see if we can do this thing. I'm really sorry. I'm very sorry to hear about the Oilers' tough 5-3 loss tonight to the Minnesota Wild. It was looking really good early. I'll give you that. I'll say that for Edmonton. The goal by Draisaitl, 30 seconds into the game, obviously the big Marc-Andre Fleury gaff. When I saw that, it kind of got me thinking, oh, it's gonna be a good night for Edmonton. You know, they're finally gonna beat a top team. They're finally gonna beat a top team in the NHL. But nope. It was not meant to be, as after Draisaitl scored, Matt Boldy scored halfway through the first period, assisted by Kaprizov. Marcus Foligno scored to make it 2-1 Minnesota. Corey Perry then tied the game 2-2 in the second, followed by Marcus Johansson scoring to put Mini up 3-2. Then it was the Frederick Gaudreau show from Mini. He scored twice. He scored to make it 4-2, and he scored to make it 5-2 to put the game out of reach. And then Jeff Skinner scored late, 20 seconds left to make it 5-3. It was a tough night. Let's hit an ad read. Title sponsor is Hyperdrive Hockey. You can check out the flagship show of the Game Over Network on the Game Over Network channel. Hyperdrive Hockey, all things hockey across various leagues in multiple countries. Whatever it is and wherever it is, Max, Daphne, and Kev have you covered for all of your hockey news with a steady dose of fun and fan engagement. You can find Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts on the Hyperdrive Hockey page at thegameovernetwork.com. Boom. Okay. Similar to my Jets shows, we don't have many people watching. If you're here in the chat, feel free to chime in what you thought about the game tonight. Honestly, I'll be honest, haven't watched Edmonton a ton, other than when we shellacked you guys 6-0 in the season opening game. But it really looked like a very similar type of game. The Oilers were not good in their own zone. I felt like they were struggling to make simple passes. They haven't been getting goaltending tonight or this whole season. Stuart Skinner was atrocious. His save percentage, I believe, on the year is somewhere around .880, which is not league average. That's not just not good. I saw some Oilers reporters tweeting about the Oilers' defensive zone coverage being horrendous. And it's not good enough against a team like Minnesota. I think I saw a stat that showed Edmonton is 9-3, beating non-playoff teams, but 1-6 or 1-7 against playoff teams. Teams that are above that playoff line, and it really does show. It really shows Edmonton's lack of scoring depth. I got OBS Studio disconnected. Reconnection successful. Are we still here? I'm not. I think that we're still here. I'm just trying to check on YouTube. Oh, we got a comment from Pele Lindbergh in the chat who says, Edmonton sucks. Um, People are gonna think that I wrote that myself, but no, I didn't. And I'm not. It's not that I, you know, it's not that I don't like, Edmonton. There are, as a Jets fan, there are, other teams that we dislike, namely Toronto. So we don't hate Edmonton. Pelly, I know it was a tough. It's been a tough kind of go this season, but it's gonna get better. Uh, I just think it's a lot of Oilers fans are kind of frustrated, kind of the direction the team's headed this season. The inconsistent play, like I said, not beating the teams above the playoff line. Tonight was a really good chance to kind of be a good measuring stick game. Minnesota is a damn good hockey team this year. When the record reflects that. I think they're 12. They're 12-3-3. They're second in the Central Division after Winnipeg. They're very good. They make you, and to beat a team like that, you have to play very good. Or you don't, and you get kind of slapped around like the Oilers did tonight. Obviously. Even the top even Draisaitl and McDavid seem a little bit off from watching. Their game's not where it needs to be a cup contender. That has a lot to do with the players that play around them. They need more of a supporting cast, and their point totals look good so far this season. But they need to step it up. Just like everybody else on the team does. So there's nobody. There's no it's everyone's got to kind of pull on the rope in Edmonton town, and I'm not an Oilers fan. I can't kind of give you guys the I don't know, I can't really sugarcoat anything. I'm smiling. I'm happy to see you guys not doing great. I'm a Jets fan. We're 16-3. Life's good. Congratulations on your great, run last season to the Cup final. That was awesome. The Game 7, coulda, woulda, shoulda. We're in 2024-25 now. Things are kind of different. New season, and the Oilers really need to pull up their socks if they're going to make another playoff run, or even make the playoffs at this point. I really wonder what management's thinking in regards to what kind of moves can be made. I think the goaltending needs to be upgraded. You're just not going to win hockey games in this league with an .880 save percentage goaltender. Can Stuart Skinner, pull it together? Sure. He played well. Last season he played well in the playoffs. This season he's not playing like an AHL goaltender. So. Maybe the Oilers make a move for, someone that can, share the net. Maybe you guys go out and, you make an aggressive move or trade, well ahead of the trade deadline. Try to get a head start on that, because there's a total lack of depth scoring. There's a total lack of, a defensive structure that's just, it's just not good enough to win in this league. So, I could go on kind of ripping your team all day here, but I'll go to another ad read now. I'm sorry, I know I come across as very negative. So let's LaRouche. Game Over Network is an independent production focused on community, inclusion, and quality people. If you're interested in supporting the Game Over Network, we have crowdfunding options available. In the description of this episode, you'll find a link to our Patreon page, and we're also working on a page through LaRouche, which is a crowdfunding platform for companies originating in Quebec. For LaRouche, we're aiming to raise $15,000, and if we hit that goal, we'll gain access to government grants that will allow us to employ more people. So if you have any ideas for what you'd like to see as giveaways from these crowdfunding efforts, please let us know. In the comments, on Twitter, Instagram, our Discord server, or the brand new Blue Sky app, which is like Twitter, which I think most of our Game Over people have now kind of migrated over to. I'm on there. I love it. I actually like tweet again. I'm still gonna call it tweeting. Um, it's fun. It's new. I encourage everybody to check it out, whether you're whatever political way you swing, whatever. Yeah, get on Blue Sky. We're all there. It's great. Um, Oilers really bad. Minnesota's been really good. Minnesota, absolute delight to watch this year. That Minnesota historically has been a very, I'm going back to their first 10 years as franchises, known as a very defensive team that relied heavily on good defense, good goaltending. Kind of the person that kind of turned that all around, I would say, has been Kirill Kaprizov. Once he kind of joined the team, once he kind of started making his mark on the Minnesota Wild, they've really showed, they've really kind of, they've kind of changed the team's mission statement kind of around him, and kind of being a lot more offensive. And now he's got good complementary pieces around him, like Matt Zuccarello, a good playmaker. Some young talent like Matt Boldy, who's another good goal scorer. Joel Eriksson-Ek is an amazing two-way center. They're a really fun team to watch. They don't have a lot of glaring kind of weaknesses that come at you. They're a very strong team. They played the Jets tough this year. They played the best tough. So Minnesota's very good, and someone who I play fantasy hockey in a couple of pretty big money leagues. In full disclosure, I have Kirill Kaprizov in a couple of them, and it's been going very well. He's up to 34 points now in 19 games. Matt Boldy has 20 points, 19 games. The one guy who's maybe a little bit down this year points wise is Joel Eriksson-Ek. He's a fantasy hockey darling. In hitting category leagues, banger leagues they call them, with shots, hits, and blocks as categories. He only has 8 points in 16 games this year, but he's hitting the same. He's hitting the peripherals. He's getting those blocks and shots that make him so valuable as a fantasy player. So, and they're getting goaltending. Minnesota last year, I think that was maybe part of their struggles. Kaprizov, it took him a while to find his game. Kaprizov was very slow out of the gate. Last season, I thought he had a bit of an injury that he was kind of nursing. The second half, he tore up the league. He was scoring at a very big pace, and he's carried that over this year. But this has kind of been the resurgence of Philip Gustafsson in the net for Minnesota. He kind of came onto the scene 2 years ago and put up top numbers in the National Hockey League. He had a record of something like 22, 9, and 7 with a 931 save percentage. That was in 2022-23. Just incredible numbers. Minnesota signed him. He's going to be he was a very highly sought after fantasy goalie. I remember at the start of last year, but he stumbled and he faltered, pretty much the whole season last year. He only had a 17-5 record with his save percentage dropped to 899, so he was below even a 900 save percentage. I think that's part of the reason why Marc-Andre Fleury wanted to stay another season before he retired. Just the way things were headed last year. But now Gustafsson's found his way for sure. He's got a 9-3-2 record at the moment. He's back up. He's got a 926 save percentage. And I would say he's right there, in the Vezina talks, with Hellebuck, Shesterkin. He's kind of that next goalie, I would say, this year that's kind of in that top three, and we'll see if he keeps it up. He's definitely going to be a Vezina nominee. I have no doubt about that. Marc-Andre Fleury, he's 3-0-1 with a 905 save percentage. I wonder what he said in the post game if he was interviewed about that. The first goal that he let in tonight, it wasn't pretty by any stretch. It was one of those. You saw it on his face afterwards. He kind of was smiling, laughed to himself after when he was scooping the puck out of the net. Like, I can't believe I did that. At that age, maybe he doesn't, probably doesn't care as much as he used to, maybe. But it made for a funny moment. It made for it's gonna be a good clip for YouTube or for TSN. Not so highlight of the night, but to Minnesota's credit, they acted like that never happened, and they trounced the Oilers after that happened. I really thought it was going to be a night, like I said, the outset of the show, I thought it was going to be a night where Edmonton rolls, from that opening goal, because that can be very demoralizing for a lot of teams, I would say, or it's just hard to come back from that, maybe when you give up a stinker like that. But it was, quite the opposite. So hats off to Minnesota for a great game. Let's head another ad read before we get to the next segment. And that's Game On. Game On Edmonton. So we don't have that in Winnipeg yet. We don't have a Game On Winnipeg yet. We don't have someone that does that. But I know you have a Game On Edmonton because I've seen it and it's quite good. So Game Over, what you're watching right now, has you covered after the game. But in order to get ready to watch the Oilers, you got to get your Game On too. So Game On Edmonton is a short-form daily news podcast covering everything you need to know about the Oilers in under 10 minutes through Monday through Friday on the Game Over Edmonton YouTube channel and in podcast form, which you can find at thegameovernetwork.com/pages/Edmonton. I think Graham does a pretty good job with it. I think I've just seen it when he's done it. I don't know if anybody else does. Graham was supposed to do the show tonight. Graham Mosimann, however you pronounce it. I believe he was at the Bruce Springsteen concert at Edmonton the other night. Maybe I think he lost his voice from singing "Hungry Heart," "Born in the USA," all that jazz. So he lost his voice. I'm here to fill in. Sorry, I'm not doing probably a great job. Sorry, I'm ripping your team. But yeah, Graham or Avry or whoever will be back. I think you guys are back in action Saturday night against New York. Have fun with that one, Edmonton. Let's kind of go as we kind of wrap up, I guess, the show. Let's as we get more into the closing section. Let's kind of go through the schedule that you guys kind of have upcoming. I'm looking. You got the Rangers coming up on Saturday night. Then you got Utah, Colorado, Vegas. That's a stretch of 4 tough games. And if we do this math of you guys beat the non-playoff teams, and then you lose to the playoff teams. That would suggest that you guys are probably going to go 1-3 or 0-4 in these next 4 games. So I think that hopefully Coach Knobloch is implementing a little bit more. More of a defensive structure, getting guys to play better in their own end. Simple things that an NHL team should be doing. Because if you're not getting the scoring, if you're not getting that kind of run and gun offense that you're used to, you really need to just lock up defensively and then get offense, off of turnovers, off of kind of just counter attacks and stuff, and try to get the offense going that way. Because whatever you guys are kind of doing, it's not working against playoff teams. These teams like New York, Colorado. Colorado had a good win tonight. Georgiev had a good bounce back win tonight after his injury. Vegas is really good. Utah is like it's not an easy schedule for Edmonton going forward. My apologies. Then you get Columbus. Columbus whacked Boston the other night and led to Boston getting their coach fired. Columbus has been no pushover either this season. They're actually getting some goaltending from Elvis Merzlikins. They're getting some scoring. They had a wild 7-6 game with Tampa tonight. That's not going to be a picnic. Then you got the Blues, and then you got a hell of a December. You got from the 10th to the 19th, Edmonton plays Tampa, Vegas, Florida, in Boston. I think in the month of December, you're really going to see what the Oilers are made of. This is a team that if all goes well, Edmonton finds their game. They're going to be firmly in a playoff spot. They're going to be firmly in a top 3 Pacific playoff spot. If things go poorly, you're not making the playoffs this year. You're going to be, pretty far. You're going to be out of it. And that's not to say, sure, you can make it. You guys can come back, in the second half of the year. There's also the Four Nations Cup coming up in the winter, and there's been teams are playing a lot more games than usual the first couple months of the season because of that, because of the the league taking a however many day break it is for that tournament, and the players that do get selected for this tournament, their attention's going to be on that. There could be injuries that come out of this tournament. We know it. McDavid's Oilers McDavid's going to be there. Evan Bouchard will probably be there. I don't think Darnell Nurse will be there. But then you guys have like Ekholm who will be there. Arvidsson, if he's healthy, will be there for Sweden, I assume. So Edmonton's going to have a handful of players that are going to be at this tournament. And hopefully you get, well, not hopefully, but you guys might be playing meaningful hockey still in, after that tournament's done. And you're going to need those players that go to that tournament to be coming back to their, to their top self. So, I kind of a long-winded way of saying that, this next month, you're really going to see what the Edmonton Oilers are made of, and whether you guys are a playoff team or not this season, because the schedule is not really in your favor. It's a very tough schedule. It's not there's no easy nights, that's for sure. So let's hit another ad read now. I'm just getting over a cold, as you can probably tell. Merch. I'm gonna put up the Jets. I don't have the Oilers merch, but yeah, there you go. Maybe buy some merch from a good hockey team, let's say. So, just kidding. Well, what better way to support something you love than by rocking it as clothing? Game Over's apparel line is dropped with 3 unique designs. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, which is currently on sale, want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our Live and Die by the Goalie design, or if sorry about that. Or if you just need another coffee to get you through the winter. My apologies, I cannot even get it through an ad read right now. Or if you just need another coffee to get you through the winter, we have you covered. Designed by Brady Chalice from Game Over Winnipeg. Use the QR code on the screen now and take a look through our apparel store. And help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. There's a lot of really good Game Over apparel. If you haven't already, I would check out that QR code. Check out the store. There's mugs, there's t-shirts, hoodies. I think hats are on the way at some point. Just a lot of good options to get you kind of set. Leave that on the screen for a minute if anyone's watching. I see there's nobody. I think. Well, we got a comment from Pelly in the chat again. He says, "What makes Edmonton?" Pelly in the chat writes, "What makes Edmonton a playoff team this season?" Depends what you mean by that. What makes them by winning hockey games. Let me get this off the screen now. Sorry. Hey, thanks for the question, Pelly, and thanks for watching. I see. I think you're the one, or there's only 2 people watching, so I appreciate the support, Pelly, and Pelly Lindbergh was also one heck of a goaltender, and obviously a very sad way that he passed away. I gotta wrap this thing up, Pelly. I'm sorry. What makes Edmonton a playoff team this year? Winning hockey games, beating teams that are in the playoff line. That's what's going to take to make the playoffs. Edmonton needs a lot more depth scoring, as we talked about. They need more of a team defensive structure. That's the always thing with Edmonton. They can't just rely on their big guns scoring the goals. They need to spread around. I think the management needs to make a move or two to bolster the team, whether that's goaltending, as I talked about, which has been bad, whether that's a little more defensive help, whether that's more offensive, middle six players. They need some help. Arvidsson hopefully comes back from injury soon. He's been not good this year as someone that's a fantasy owner. There's not been a lot to love in Edmonton, but I'm a Jets fan. I cannot count out Edmonton. You guys have done it before last year. You can do it again this year. You can turn this around and go on another playoff run. I would not be surprised at all. And with that, I'm getting the heck out of here. I gotta cough out something in the back of my throat, I think. So I'm gonna take off. My name's Ty Di Lello. I was happy to step in here and host the game on Game Over Edmonton. I hope to not have to do it again. Hopefully Graham's good for Saturday against the New York Rangers. I believe it's 9 o'clock Winnipeg time, 8 o'clock Edmonton time, or 7 o'clock Edmonton time. You can find me on Blue Sky. My name's Ty Di Lello. I'm there. You can give me a follow or check out the Game Over pages on there, on Twitter. Give us a follow, like this video, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thanks for watching. Pelly, thanks for checking us out tonight. I appreciate it. And I'll be back, I think, tomorrow for Game Over Winnipeg. I'll be there after the Jets game. You can find me there. But for now, take care, everybody. Have a good night. Peace.